Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Thanks very much for stopping in. Right, so today we're just going to have a bit of fun. All I'm going to do is be testing some fountain pens and then we're going to try sketching with them. Got ink on my fingers already, so it's going to be a good stream. So what I was doing just before I hopped on was I got this ink. And I have filled up these two pens. So what I'm looking for is a cheapish pen that I can take to university. So one of these sorts of pens. Gosh, there's ink all over this too. And then we're going to test them out today. But because I've only just filled them up, they might not be working right away. So we're going to have to get them to work. So I've got a little jar of water here and some paper towels. And we're probably going to make a bit of a mess, but that's just fine. So let me put the keyboard to one side. Okay, and just going to very carefully put this here. I've got everything on a little glass plate because whoop, things are probably going to get messy. Right, so if you haven't used a fountain pen before, these are just like some modern little cheap plastic ones. But basically how they work is by gravity. So you fill them up with ink and then they have a feed, which I'll show you in a second. And the ink just gradually makes its way down the feed via gravity and then out through the nib. I'm going to show you this one because it's clear inside. Hang on, let's go to the bigger screen so we can show you more of this. Oh, and I should probably start the Pomodoro timer as well. Let's try that. There we go. So that's going to be running a bit late, sorry, but that's okay. Right, so I'm just going to open this one up. So this is just a cheap little pen. The brand is Jinhao, and if I take the body off here, I'm not going to pull this bit out because this is the bit that contains the ink. So if I do that, there'll be a mess everywhere, and that's what I've just filled up before the stream. So we've got a cartridge converter here. This has a twisty bit at the back so you can suck the ink in from the bottle if you want. Or the other thing you can do is you can use a syringe and directly syringe the ink into this, which is what I do because it's easier. There we go. So if I turn it this way now, we can see the nib here. And the nib is pressed up against the feed, so the ink's going to make its way down into the feed, and if I tilt it you might be able to see all those little fins in the light there. It's going to make its way through all those fins and then down behind and over there and come out through the nib basically. So that's a really super basic explanation of how a fountain pen actually works. So if I move it in the light, maybe you can just see the ink kind of moving around there. So that's that one. And the other one I've got works exactly the same way. This one's pretty cool though because in the section you can actually see the feed basically because the section is clear, so you can see more of that. And you can also see the ink that I've added to the cartridge is just hopefully slowly going to make its way down there. So I'm just going to unscrew this bit. Instead of this one having a cartridge converter where you can twist the ink in it, this is just a cartridge. So basically what I had to do for this one is syringe the ink out of here into this. Just going to make sure that that is all pushed in properly as much as I can. So yeah, we're going to be trying both of these today. Whoops, we need to put this back on first. So I have used both of these pens before, but not for this project. But I just want to see which one might be better. Also, this particular pen has given me a bit of trouble. So this one is a Jinhao 82, which is a Chinese pen, and they're fairly inexpensive. You can get them from lots of different places. This one is a Pilot Kakuno. There we go. This one is a Japanese pen. These are really, really good. I've had a different Pilot pen, a Pilot Metropolitan, which is one of my favorite all-time basic pens. However, I've had a bit of trouble with this one, which is why I want to test it again today with the different ink. So what's been happening is that the ink's just been like going straight through the feed. And then I end up with blobs of ink everywhere, and also inside the lid. Actually, last time I filled this up, I took off the lid, it was filled with ink, so that could be a fun time today. Right, so let's see if we can get these flowing. Let me just move this to the back here. Do I have a test page? I do. This is my test page. So this is when I was testing with a different pen and with dip pens. And because these pens take a while to have the ink go through the feed, we might have to coax it through, but still might also have some lavender ink from the last time. So in order to coax the ink through, let's just move this to one side and bring this back again. I've got this little bottle of water here, and to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dip the pen straight in, and sometimes that capillary action is enough to draw the ink through. In this case, maybe not though, because it is pretty dry. So then after that, what I do is I get one of these paper towels that I've got here. Oh, hey Neon, welcome on in. Oh, and yes, there's a lot of lavender ink there. Yes, I'm excited to tell you about my project actually. So I will chat to you about that in just a second. I'm just going to make sure that the lid is properly back on this fountain pen first of all, in case of accidents. But it's looking like with this one we might have to actually screw the converter down a little bit to push the ink through. That's going to be quite dangerous. Okay, let's just carefully put the lid back on there. And how's your day been, Neon? I hope it's been good. And my project. Some of you might be familiar with this, or you might have seen it once or twice on my supporter site, or back on my Patreon when I was still officially on Patreon. So I was waiting to tell you guys about this because I didn't know whether it was going to be approved, but I chatted about it in class on Monday. We all went around and discussed what we wanted to do for our projects, and there was absolutely no problem with my idea. So this sketchbook, if you do recognize it, is Mr. Tawny Frogmouth's travel diary, or his Plenty of Drawing sketchbook, all of those things. This is what he takes about with him everywhere. And let me just show you a sketch from here. This is one where I haven't actually inked it in yet, so there's one. And I'll find another one. I've just scattered drawings throughout the book because I wanted it to be quite random, when I could fill things in. Here's another one. I think this one might be on the supporter site somewhere as well. So it's going to be a book, my project, and I'm hoping that by the end of the year I will have completed an actual book, like a companion book to the painting series that I'm working on. And there's going to be letters to and from the characters, kind of just tucked in, ephemera from around the city, Mr. Tawny Frogmouth sketches of Paris, all those different kinds of things, tickets. Yes, it's from quite a while ago, Neon. So I worked on this maybe a couple of years ago. I started working on it, and then things got in the way. I had, of course, the paintings to work on, which is the main thing, and also, you know, I had a couple of commissions and things that I needed to get done, and this fell by the wayside. Yes, he is. He likes to wander around and draw things. This is why he and Miss Lunamoth are kind of, I suppose, attracted to each other in a way, because, you know, they're two artists. So I'm hoping that this will be able to convey a little bit more of the story, again, without being too, what's the word, explicit about what happens. I just want the audience to have like little fragments of the story and try and put it together for themselves, and this is going to be another way that they can do that. Yes, that's right. So in case you're not familiar, for anyone else who's watching, the characters in this series, they're the same. One of them is the same as from my previous series, Victorian Animal Family, and that's that's Mr. Tawny Frogmouth. Now, there's quite a few people who are a bit of an artistic kind of what's the word? Artistic tendencies in the family, and one of them is Mr. Tawny Frogmouth, who's really a great patron of the arts and is interested in art himself. And of course, Mr. Binturong has his own art supply store, so that's kind of how all of this sort of ties together, and how Mr. Tawny Frogmouth becomes interested in what's going on in Paris. So there we go. There's a wee bit of backstory that I have not been able to share until now, because I actually didn't know if this was going to be a thing that would happen, but it looks like it's happening, so that's really cool. Right, so let's try setting this one going. This one is going to be a little bit harder because, as I was saying just before you dropped in, Neon, I was explaining how fountain pens work. This one has a cartridge in it and it doesn't have a screw converter, so I can't force the ink into the feed. So we might be waiting a little while for this one. Just gonna dip this in here and see if we can get the ink to flow through with a bit of capillary action. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't if I've only just inked the pens. This one we might just have to put upside down and hope it doesn't leak into the cap, which is what it has been doing. So we're just going to stand this up in here. Perfect. And this one we're going to bring the plate back again. I believe there are some replicas. In fact, I know for a fact there is a replica, and I have some originals. We can talk a little bit about this if you'd like, because today is kind of a day for testing stuff. So I'll just see if I can get this one primed, and then I can get out some of my vintage fountain pens that have the levers. Okay. So this one has a screw converter, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this, and then this will push this bit down because it's got a screw in it, and then the ink hopefully will be forced into the feed. Actually, before we go too much further, let's get a paper towel as well. You'd like to see them? Awesome. I just thought, let's get some of this stuff sorted today. Oh, we've got a blob of ink coming out there. Sometimes it doesn't take much. Use this one like that. I'm going to dip this in here. Beautiful. Just see if we can get that flowing through. There we go. Alright, so actually just before we move on to the vintage pens, I just want to talk a little bit about my choices for this project, because this was, as you guys know, I like thinking really carefully about what I'm going to do and the type of supplies that I'm going to use, and this is no exception. So I did actually find out that about the time that we are looking at, fountain pens were a thing in history, so conceivably Mr. Tawny Frogmouth could have been using a fountain pen. He could have been taking that around with him. This ink is also a deliberate choice as well, partly because of the colour. Whenever I think of him, I think of him with kind of like a glass of wine in his hand, and kind of just a very kind of sedate sort of deep red colour, you know, I think is kind of his favourite colour. So I chose the ink for the colour, but also because this company has been around for years and was around at the end of the 1800s. Let me just double check. So even though I'll be drawing probably with a modern fountain pen just to make things a bit easier, I'm doing my best to make things kind of historically accurate if I can. Let's just look up Herbin ink history. I think they're very, very old from memory. I haven't looked this up for a little while. 1670, there we go. Because I was thinking 17 something. No, 1670 this ink company has been around, so I thought that would be quite cool. Right, let me tip out this water in case of accidents. And I'll be back with some vintage fountain pens for us to have a quick look at. Okay, I've got a couple here. This one is a Schaefer, which is very, very pretty. This one is in good working condition. And I think this one just has a cartridge in it. Yes, so this one just has a modern cartridge in it because they take the modern cartridges. And I think this one is from the 50s or the 60s. Here we go. And I have a white one of these, which is very pretty as well. But unfortunately it's a bit leaky. So there's that one. And then going back a bit further, this one is currently not inked at the moment. This is a Parker Duofold. And all of these vintage ones are ones that I've just got sort of secondhand off Trade Me, or someone at Pen Club. Why do you have my pen? Which one, Leon? The one I'm holding? This one? You have a gold one like that. This one, I love the nib. This is a beautiful, beautiful nib. How old is your one? Do you know? Oh, the first one. You've got one like this. Oh, that's lucky. I would love to see a picture if you've got it, you know, available for taking a picture of at some point. If it's buried in a box somewhere, no worries. But yeah, that would be super cool. The advertising for these is hilarious. I'll have to put some advertising, vintage advertising in the Discord at some point. This one I also got off Trade Me. The pen nib itself is really lovely to use, but it has my least favorite converter, which is a squeeze converter. I'm just going to hold it over my hand, but it should be empty because I emptied it out. The problem with this is that eventually the rubber is going to perish in this. It's doing alright at the moment. These are basically designed to be not removable, so I can't remove this from the pen, probably without using heat or something. So that's a real shame, and currently I don't have any ink in that one. Now, what you were asking about, Neon? The rubber perished in yours. With the ones, particularly like the one that I'm going to show you, which I can't take apart to show you the sack in it, you can replace the rubber sacks. If it's literally just a sack and not one of these weird, I think they're called aerometric filling things, you can just replace the sack. So I think this is what you were talking about with maybe your grandmother's pen with the lever filler, possibly. So I'm not going to do this, but in order to fill the pen, it has a rubber sack inside, and then there's a metal bar. Oh, sorry, I'm not holding that correctly under thing there. So this lever that you can lift up like that and then put back down is attached to a metal bar under here, which basically compresses the sack. So in order to fill this pen, you dip it in your ink bottle, and then you pull your lever out, which compresses the sack, and then when you let it go, it sucks the ink up like that. So just take this one off so you can see the nib. This is an Esterbrook J, I think. Mine's got a few dings on it because I mean it's like what, 50-60 years old, maybe a bit older. And again, I just managed to pick this up off Trade Me for not too much money, and I replaced the sack in this one as well. The sack had perished and I was able to replace it, but because everything's sort of friction fit between these two parts, it's very difficult to kind of pull this apart. You really only do that when you're changing the sack. That's the type your grandma had. Oh, lovely. Well, if you do find them, like if you've got them somewhere, it is possible to replace them. Sorry, not replace them. The word that starts with R. Refurbish them. It's possible to refurbish them and get them back into working condition, depending on the condition, basically. And you were asking about replicas, or like if they make modern ones. The one that I know of, and it's because of my interest in Indiana Jones, is they made a replica of the pen from Last Crusade, the one where Henry Jones squirts ink in order to create a distraction. So you can buy that, but that's a terrible price. But what's really cool about it is that it has the quote from the movie on it, "The pen is mightier than the sword." But I think maybe I'll just keep a lookout for an original one from the 50s or the 60s. Yeah, let me just see if I can find the link. Anyway, I hope everyone's enjoying the fountain pen talk today. Let me just grab a link. So it's a Conway Stewart, apparently, the one in the movie. Yes, series 58. Just drop a link in chat. So yeah, for an Indiana Jones fan, this would be quite amazing, but not for $1,039. I imagine though with that link to the film though, the originals are probably quite pricey anyway, so I actually don't know how much an original one would cost, but I'm just hoping maybe I'll come across one in a junk shop someday, or in a box, or on Trade Me for fairly inexpensive pricing. Okay. And yeah, I'm sure there probably are different ones that people are making, but that's just the one that I know of. Oh, and if you hear any thumping in the background, I believe that's Loki throwing himself at the door trying to catch his electronic plastic mouse. So that's what's going on here today. I know, right, Neon? Maybe that's like a lotto purchase at some point. Okay, let's see how this Jinhao is for the drawing. Now the ink itself is going to be a little bit faded and washed out at first because I've used the water. Let's see if we can pull a bit more through there. There we go, so it's kind of more of that dark red colour. So yeah, he's kind of got a different routine today. Normally he tires himself out in the morning and then has a nap in the afternoon while I'm streaming, but today it was the opposite, so I've given him his little electronic mouse to play with and he's zipping around throwing that into walls. No worries, Neon, enjoy the lurk, have fun painting snails, that sounds pretty cool. And I'm going to be continuing to test these pens. This one, I think you can sort of see the ink is travelling down the feed. Maybe if I can turn it in the light there, that reflection makes it pretty difficult to see, but the ink is now about there, so we just need to get it to flow down a bit further and then we'll be able to see how that one's going to work. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that one. Now, when I was working on this project last, just pop these up in here. I was working on this drawing. And I've been looking for the reference photo for it, which I do have somewhere. But I could not find it in time for today's stream. I think I'm going to have to go back through some supporter live streams, because I'm pretty sure I did a lot of this on a supporter live stream, and I think the reference photo will be there. Your cats don't like electronic toys. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that he does as well, but he just goes crazy for them. Oh, there we go. I think that's another one I was working on in supporter live stream, so I'll continue doing that as well. I think we'll be doing some live streams with this drawing, because I'll need to, or with this drawing says, because I'll need to, I will need to do lots of these. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I suppose the thing is with the mouse that I've got for him, is that it's supposed to be able to right itself and get itself out of tight situations, which it does, but sometimes it still gets stuck, and then I end up having to free it for him. But I think he quite enjoys that as well. It's kind of like we're hunting it together, which is kind of cute, really. Okay, let's have a look for a reference photo. And for this, what I have been doing is actually going to Google Maps and going to Street View and doing a virtual walk around Paris, basically, which is a lot of fun. So actually, let me just show you how I go about this. One moment. Oh, and everybody, if you are doing the Pomodoro today, take a few minutes and stretch and have a glass of water. That was the timer for a 5-minute break. We're running a bit late with that today though, sorry. So let's just collapse the side panel, and then hopefully this will work. Hang on a second. Right, so here I am in Google Maps, and I'm just going to grab the little person and we're going to drop them somewhere random. Let's see. Whee! Maybe. Actually, let's go somewhere near the Eiffel Tower today for funsies. And yeah, this is how I sort of find interesting things to sketch. And it's good because you can get some angles as if you were actually standing there as well. Oh wow. Well, this is quite lovely, isn't it? So yeah, we'll just have a quick look around and we'll see if we can find something fun. I already have a sketch of a similar place. But what I'm looking for are places that would have been around back in the day. So no modern buildings or anything. But also things that are interesting. So things that you would have stopped and gone, I want to draw that. That's what I'm looking for. I suppose it is a bit like GeoGuessr, isn't it? I've only ever been in a couple of streams where the people have done that. Oh, that's a palette. Is this an art supply shop? Oh, it says permanently closed. That's a shame. Oh, I see. It's boarded up. Never mind. But yeah, is GeoGuessr, is it like a separate app? I'm never quite sure. But anyway, this is how I find interesting things to draw. Maybe we'll find a park or something. When I find a thing that looks good, I actually Google it. So if it's a monument or a park, I look it up to see how old it is. Would it have been around? Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? I mean, some of these are quite clearly older buildings, but I guess you don't know, was it always a cafe at the front? Things like that. Oh, it is a separate app. Okay. Whoop, zoomy. But I mean, I don't mind the zoomy because that means we end up in interesting places. What about all the way down there? Now, at this point, I think what we can do is kind of look at the map, and that looks like a little park there, or there's one right here actually. So can I tap on that, or can I drop my little guy? Or do we just keep going this way? Oh, are we next to the park? We're next to the park. Oh, and that's what I'm talking about, guys. How beautiful is that? You just look up, it's literally like walking down the street and you look up and you see something and I'm like, I want to draw that. That's very cool. Now, if I tap on this, does it tell me what it is? Right, let's look that up. Hang on a second. Neo-Gothic, twin-spired Neo-Gothic basilica. Hang on a second. Constructed between 1846 and 1856. Perfect. The first example of a church in Paris in the Neo-Gothic style. Very cool. So that's from the Wikipedia article. Right, I think we've got our drawing project for today. Let's have a wander around this church and look at it from a few different angles. And just see what we can see. Whoop, is it going to let us go that way? Yes, I would like to go there. Maybe not, maybe we have to look at it from over here. Okay, we'll go back to the front of the street and go around behind it. Oh, and we've got a lovely big square. I hope we can go over here. Oh, hello. I mean, that's very impressive, but I think I actually like that view we had from behind at the back of the church with the trees and stuff. With things like trees, I tend to draw them in because I mean, sometimes it just makes it look prettier, and I suppose without finding very old photographs or maybe someone else's old drawings. I suppose I could do that actually now that I have the time. I could take the time to find old drawings and photos, because there must be. I don't think it's going to let us walk this way. No, which is a shame, because what I really want I want to be standing right in the middle there and be looking back at it, but I don't think it's going to let us, but that's okay. That's just a restriction we have today. So what happens if we turn around and look up at it this way? Oh, well, that's cool with that classic building on the other side too. Oh, pigeon caught mid-flight. Cute. Okay, I like that. Maybe if we go forward a little bit more. Oh, actually that's cool. Okay. I think that's going to be our reference for today, guys. Now, can I hide this? No. I just... I'm scared to push that close button in case that all goes away. Whoops. Yeah. Alright, we'll start with that and see what happens. Just grab a quick photo of it with my phone just so I've got that as a backup in case anything goes wrong. Cool. Alright, so there we go. That is our reference photo. Let's do some sketching, finally. Oh, I kind of want to think about if I was standing there holding a sketchbook and sketching, because this one I kind of feel like it needs to be this way. Or would you hold it this way? I feel like this way is better. I suppose in any case it doesn't particularly matter because I'm not entirely sure of the final format of this. I'm just going to take this slip belly band off thing. I basically just chose this particular sketchbook because it looked, you know, if it was lying down on display somewhere it would kind of look the part, and I thought I could embellish it maybe. But I may end up using a different binding or book entirely. Maybe take these things out of here and put them elsewhere. Actually, I might need to move my reference photo. I'm just going to start by roughly sketching out what I'm seeing here. And it's been a while since I've done anything like this. Remember I did all of those perspective practice drawings? Well, those have gone out the window. Hey Boo Boo, welcome on in. I'm doing good, thank you. How are you? Today I am just starting to do a little bit of work on the project that I'll be doing for university this year. It needs to go that way, I think. Oops. Now the problem with this particular sketchbook, which I didn't realize until after I started using it, is that the ink takes a very long time to dry, and even when it actually is dry, I have to be super careful with erasing the pencil from underneath because the ink was just moving on the top of the paper. So whatever this paper is, it's nice to draw on with fountain pens, but the combo of fountain pens and this particular ink in this paper doesn't seem to be doesn't seem to be that good, unfortunately. Yes. So this is not just an assignment. Oh, there we go. That's a 5-minute breakdown. Sorry, the Pomodoro's behind again today. But there we go. That's the start, I think, of a new 30-minute block. We're going to be working on bits and pieces for my giant creative project, which is extremely exciting. So this is something I'll be doing throughout the year. And it may be that we just end up working on this for most streams. And nice, I'm glad you're doing okay. This maybe needs to go back a bit further in this. Actually needs to be about here. And then that needs to be a little bit lower maybe. So yeah, this is going to be super wonky because I haven't done this sort of drawing for a while. But we're just going to give it a go and see what happens. That needs to go like that. Oh, that's good to hear that you're doing the exercises as well, because that will definitely help with recovery time. So I'm just kind of simplifying the shapes right now so I can get them roughly correct. And then just drawing things in like that. And there's actually like 3 of these kind of little lips here, but we're just going to draw in one to start with. Oh, actually, I'm just going to make a center line just roughly down the middle here. And that is looking not too bad. Just going to roughly draw in these extra little bits up here. And then we've got extra little bit that goes across here. Right, time for some water. So I'm going to draw one of these little tower things in to start with all the very basic shapes, and then I'm going to extend outwards this way. And quite often, I'm not too sure how much of the page this is all going to take up, but I'm sort of treating this as an exercise that I would do if I was out and about doing drawing myself. And that's probably what would happen if I was doing it myself. I'd be like, oh, whoops. So that comes all the way down there. And then this goes all the way along here. And just to remind myself, I'm going to add the little circle in here, just to remind myself that I need to come back and add those sorts of details as well. So the original plan with this is that I would work on it bit by bit, and then by the time it came to the exhibition I would have a book full of sketches to go with it as well. But of course that didn't happen. So this is the year. We are going to do it this year, guys. Oh, that's no good, Neon. I hope that doesn't take too long to sort itself out. That's always a pain. Okay, this is a bit wonky, but these are all things that can be fixed later. I'm just getting the rough shapes down today. Let's have a quick look at the Pilot pen, which I'm going to do over here. Oh, the ink has made it all the way down to there, which is great. Oh yes, so just to catch you up and what I've been doing so far, Boo Boo, before the stream I inked my Pilot Kakuno and my Jinhao, and I did a wee test with the Jinhao because I managed to get the ink flowing through that nicely. This one's taken a bit longer. However, I've had some problems with the Kakuno. It is leaking ink into the cap, so I thought we'll try this ink. A different ink, and also I want to see if it would be a nice pen to use with this project for drawing. I was using a Kaweco Sport, and that was quite nice, but I want something with a bit more ink capacity, especially if I have to take it to uni. Block of Dynamite, welcome on in. How are you going? And you got a graphite paint swatch, nice. Do you know what, Neon? I've had that same issue, but with things like seashells, like crustaceans and sea snails, that kind of thing. It is very difficult, I agree. Hello DT, welcome on in. I am today working on, I will put the link in chat, hang on a second. Let me just find a quick link, because I don't trust myself to pronounce this correctly. So I'll drop the link in chat so everyone can see. Oh, that is the wrong link. Hang on a second. That was the Wikipedia. Where is it? There it is. And good luck with the drop, Block of Dynamite. And DT, good luck as well. There we go. So there is the basilica that I am attempting to draw a tiny part of today. Okay, let me just get my reference photo back. There we go. And how have you guys been, DT and Block of Dynamite? I hope you've been good. Art school is going fantastic, Block of Dynamite. Just pop the keyboard down there. I'm having a very good time. It is extremely extremely busy though. I say that like I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. I was expecting it to be very, very busy, but it's a good time. Okay. Taking a break from streaming. Nice, it's good to do that from time to time. So yeah, this is hopefully going to be part of the very large project that I have to do throughout the year. So this is probably what we'll be working on in stream for most of the year this year, guys. Oh, congrats on the move, Block of Dynamite, although I know it can be like super tiring. But that is exciting, so that means you basically have your own space. That's really cool. Sorry, I just had to mute myself because I just about sneezed there. Oh, I'm glad it's a bigger space. But yeah, it will be an adjustment. But you know, who knows? It might be nice to have people to hang out with, or a person to hang out with if you want to. Exactly, yes. And guys, it is 3 o'clock, so it is time for me to take a break. And I'm just gonna go grab myself water, have a stretch, see if the cat's mouse toy needs recharging, and I will be back in about 5 minutes, and I will see you very shortly. Hello everyone, welcome back. Let me just catch up on chat. Oh, nice one. Neon got 61 in the drop game. Did I miss anything else? Nope, we're all good. Right. Okay. That coffee cup sitting in the leaf pole there is kind of making me want a cup of coffee. Oh, it sounds like they're both having a very good day there, Neon. Right, back to drawing. Oh, actually no, not back to drawing. Because I got a bit of fresh water. Let's just move the pens out of the way here. And I thought we'll just have a look at this Kakuno pen and just see if we can get the ink flowing in this, because I think it's nearly there. Oh, actually I don't need the water. Look at that. Alright then. That's the thing with this pen. I love the way the ink comes out. It comes out fairly quickly after you refill it. However, I'm not enjoying the leaking into the nib so much. So this is the Jinhao here with these sorts of lines. Oh, it's much of a muchness, isn't it? I mean, that could be quite good. I was thinking it might be nice to have two nibs that were slightly different in size, but they're pretty much the same. So if I run out of ink in one, like if I'm at university or something and I need to keep going, then I can have two of these pens filled with ink. As long as this one doesn't leak. I've pushed the nib and feed back into the pen because apparently that is something that can cause the leaking. But it might also be that there's just like a fine crack in here that I can't see. So we'll see how that goes over the next few days. Rouge, G-R-E-N-A-T. Let's look it up. They make quite a few red inks, but I went with that one specifically just because it seemed like a good colour. And sorry, oh, garnet, there we go, because I was thinking it looks like a ruby, but that's French for garnet apparently. Which explains the cute little illustration on the label there. Yes, sorry, bingo. And when I say this pen was leaking into the lid, guys, that was after I'd left it undisturbed on my desk overnight in a horizontal position, so not taking it out of my bag or anything like that, just completely flat. So I think there's something wrong with the pen, unfortunately. Right, let's go back here and go back to the pencil sketch that we're working on. Just going to bring the keyboard over here to make things a bit easier. Okay. You did, Boo Boo. Did you ever find a fix for that, or a way to make it not so leaky? And sorry if I mute myself occasionally. After being absolutely fine forever, my allergies have decided to kick in today for some reason. You didn't? Oh dear, well we'll see how my one goes then. I think at the very least, if worst comes to worst, the nibs on these will fit the Pilot Metropolitan, and the idea of having a cute smiley nib on my Pilot Metropolitan is kind of appealing, so all is not lost. Right, so we've got the basic shape of this in. Yes, I mean there is that, right? They don't, if they do leak, they don't leak out of the pen, so I'm thankful for that. But yeah, I'm really keen to actually use the Pilot Kakano, so I'm hoping it's just a random incident, but we'll see. Right, so here we've got, oh, and it goes kind of like this. Actually, it could even be skinnier. It might be this skinny. And you can kind of see with this paper, when I erase it, we do get quite a bit of smudging. Which is not ideal. So I'm gonna continue using the sketchbook, but at some point the whole thing, I'm thinking, might get deconstructed. And maybe interspersed with different kinds of paper. Yes, it really is, right? I suppose if this doesn't work out, I can just ink up the Pilot Metropolitan with the red ink. But I'm looking for a fine nib, and I think the one I have on there is a medium. So yeah, I probably could just swap this over. Or is this a medium? Maybe I've got... Yeah, this one's a medium. So maybe I've got a broad or something on the Metropolitan? Okay, it's at this point where sometimes I look back at the reference photo and I'm like, where is everything in relation to the thing that I'm just drawing? It starts to get a little bit difficult. So this is an odd little thing just here that has a tiny roof feature on it. And then, yeah, that kind of goes down that way, and then this way. Actually, that needs to be more like that. I think I need my tiny eraser as well. I think, Boo Boo, like honestly, if you were going to buy yourself a bunch of inks. Like, for the price, you can't go wrong with those. There's far more expensive inks if you're going to go down an ink rabbit hole, so I think you're doing just fine. And actually, these little bottles are quite good, like these tiny little mini bottles that you get from Urban, so if you're interested in those, these are not bad, and they last forever, like, especially if you're just doing writing, like occasional writing and things, this would last an extremely long time. Whoopsie. Oh, and if anyone's doing the Pomodoro, along with the timer, that would be another half-hour block there. I think I need to make that one a little bit wider. A little bit that goes down that way. And just little by little, kind of adding more to this. I set Loki's mouse going again on the break. Now he's flinging it around again. I wasn't sure about the light up tail when I got it, but I honestly think that really attracts him to it. And quite often he will just grab it by the tail and carry it around in his mouth, which is really, really cute. Yeah, he catches me by surprise as well, because all of a sudden it'll be quiet and I'll just be wandering around the house. I'll be like, oh, what's going on? And then the other day I just happened to look to the side. He was standing dead still in the doorway staring at me with the mouse, holding it by the tail. And its little wheels were going round and round and round. It was hilarious. He's like, haha, I caught it. Okay, let's go ahead and add the other window in, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to draw a vertical line down to help me keep track of where the center line is, because we're only going to see a little part of the window on this side, like that. A little bit higher. It actually needs to go up there a bit higher. Yes, he is. We're still having to do a lot of hard work with some of the behavioural issues, but he is definitely settling in and having a good time. It helps that I'm a sucker and I feed him treats. Maybe that needs to come across a bit further there. Thankfully though, he's not terribly food motivated. You know how some cats get so food motivated that they're kind of like stressed about it? He's just like, oh, treats, but also, yeah, it's fine. I don't care so much. Oh, and that is the end of the 5-minute break. So we're ending up with something that looks a little bit like that at the moment. And then we're just going to extend this way. So we've got that goes like that, and then something that looks a little bit like this. And then up. Okay, so when we get to the bottom of this bit, kind of need to make sure we've got that in place there. And then on the other side as well. I'm just kind of looking at the shape of the window and working out where the little windowsill is going to fit in, because it needs to be a little bit higher, like these ones are a little bit higher up and placed in. Here we go. And again, I'm just sketching a rough line down the middle here. Sort of making sure most of these kind of line up a little bit. But again, I don't mind if it's a little bit wonky, because this is just meant to be sort of a sketch that maybe he did on the street, so he stopped and saw something and was like, wow, that's cool. Wow, I didn't know that word either. That's really cool. Snail hibernation. Is that because it's like a special kind of hibernation? Like it gets its own word? Okay, we've got another little thing that's kind of poking out the side here. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll draw it in anyway. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, because I knew they sealed themselves, but I didn't know about the heart rate. Wow, that's really cool. Yes, because you do often quite find them in summer all sealed up, don't you? Because it's hot. Well, I mean, that's what I always assumed, like, they have to seal themselves up and do a bit of a hibernation thing because otherwise they'll dry out. But now that I think about it, I don't know if that's actually true. Okay, so this way we've we've done that one, and we've done that. So now that actually is only that big. Oh, okay. Because we've got it coming down like that. So I think, guys, what we might do with these streams sometimes is I might sort of turn them into a wee bit of a research stream as well. Because there's going to be things that I'm going to need to look up and learn about properly before I draw them and all of that kind of thing. So I think that might be quite a useful thing to do. I'm just using the cuff of my sweatshirt to gently brush those eraser shavings away, because otherwise it's just going to smear graphite everywhere. And I do have my eraser brush somewhere, but it has gone walkabouts, so I'll need to find that, I think. Okay, we have got one little spire that's just kind of poking up. I'm calling it a spire, but it's not really. It's a random decorative element, and I don't know what it's called. It's going to roughly draw in the little house shape on it. I think this is kind of like an interesting study just as it is. I could probably leave some space to maybe write some little notes, or the date. Write down the dates that he saw these things, because that's what I would do. Another window in this one too. About there. So yeah, these drawings take me a little while. I sketch them out like this to start with, just with the basic shapes, and then I go in and add more detail with the pencil. wonder if I've got the really, really complicated one in here. It should be here somewhere. I'm scattering them throughout the book just to make it seem a bit random, so I'm just picking random pages and then adding the drawings wherever I feel like it. This one took a very long time. I'm pretty sure I did this on a supporter stream at some point. Yes, I have Boo Boo, but only just. I think I've tried the N. I'm probably gonna get the number wrong, but it's something like N20S or something, and it has been lovely. And if it helps, everything I've heard about the pocket pens, because I've known about the M2, everything I've heard about them is that they're very good. My N20S, if I've got the number right, that is my daily driver for writing at university, and it is doing very well. Okay, so I've missed out a bunch of stuff on the top here. So we'll need to go ahead and add at least a little bit of that in. But I think that's quite a nice start. I'm just gonna also add in, there's a little buttressy thing over here, and I think at that point we can just do that, and that will be a nice end to the drawing on this page. Okay, so about there. And then I can fill in these little bits and the bits up here. And yeah, not bad. Also, I've just noticed that in your message there you've used the word mesmerized. And I can relate. Not with the M2, but definitely can relate to being mesmerized by particular fountain pens. I think that's a good choice of word there. Okay, so at this one we have to draw in that kind of inset windowsill thing again. which is a little bit like that. This might be a little bit low, but we're just gonna go ahead and draw it in. Actually, no, I think we're good. Okay. Thanks, DT. Yeah, I'm basically just going straight from the reference photo. Now, what am I missing? We've not filled in these little bits up here. So, this bit, hang on, where are we? So that is that bit. And then we come across here, and then we've got one of these little things. Yes, a very, very big school assignment that's going to take all year. So you guys are going to be seeing a lot more of this. So I hope you like ink drawing. Don't worry, we will be doing some other things, but I can see this is going to be most of my time, I think. There's another little thing sticking up there and I can't quite tell where it's from, so I'm not going to draw it in too much. It might actually be from like another little thing that's behind here. Oh, let me just have some water. And then we also need to... oh gosh, I've lost myself again. Hang on, so we've got 1, 2, 3. So here we need to do a thing that goes this way. And then we need... whoops! To do this one. This way, and then this goes up like this. Lots and lots of little things. Oh, nice one. That's good. You've got a new Discord. Time for coffee. Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm gonna need a coffee as well because I'm literally having to count across and work out where I'm meant to be drawing the next thing. My brain is starting to slowly turn to mush here. So then we've got this one, and then... yep, I've lost it. I've lost myself. So that is that. Okay, yeah, we are supposed to have another little fence thing that goes this way. And then something That looks a little bit like that, and that is wrong, but that's okay, we'll fix it later. And then we've got another one of these little things up here. It's entirely possible that I'm drawing these in the wrong place. But what I'd like to do is come back to things, you know, in a day or two, and then it's a lot easier to tell once I've had a visual break from it. Right, so we've got this little fence thing that goes along here, and then we've got one of these little things. And that is a Pomodoro break. I'm just going to take like a 1 or 2 minute break because we are actually coming up to the end of the stream, but honestly I think my brain kind of needs it. So I'm just going to have a stretch. I'm going to have some of my water. But if you guys have been working to the timer just there, it's probably a good time to have a break. Maybe I need a command so that when the stream starts it automatically just starts the timer. I'll try and work out how to do that because that would be the easiest thing. Okay, so the next thing we need to draw in is like a roof that you can just see popping out here. Right, I'm going to go back and just add a few extra little details before we wrap up. Okay, we've just got this one to go. And then what I'm gonna do is these are like kind of little club shapes. Is that the right word? But what I'm going to do, instead of actually drawing them in for now, I'm just going to draw like a little circle where they're supposed to be. And that will just let me figure out what kind of shape and size they're going to be. Yeah, that works, and then you can just kind of see a little bit of that one there. Oh, thank you. I will check that out after the stream. I'm not on Discord as often these days though, just because I've got a lot of uni work to do. Oh yeah, but if anyone is interested, or if you're not on the Discord, which I think you are, but there we go, there is that one. So if you want to, if anyone wants to share any art or anything like that, please feel free to drop in there. We've got a, I always forget exactly what it's called, but we've got a forum channel where you can have like your own forum thread and just keep adding to that and share what you're working on. Always happy to see. Okay, so we just need to fit one more in here. Okay, so that was the end of the 5-minute break, which means we are coming up to the end of the stream, guys. Probably in about, oh, maybe less than 5 minutes actually, because I have to find someone. Thank you, Neon. I don't know why I can never remember that. Every time someone asks, and I'm like, oh, pop it in the channel, and then my brain just goes blank. Thank you. Which is not very helpful, is it? Okay, so we need to squeeze 4 of these little round shapes in here. I think we can do it. No, hog away. Everyone hog the channel. It's fine. That's what it's there for. Okay. And we're pretty quiet there as well, so I mean, if you don't feel like sharing as well, that is also okay. Okay, right, so I'm just gonna tidy up this little bit over here, and then guys, I think it's time to find someone to raid. Thank you so much for hanging out today, and I hope you enjoyed a bit more of a look at kind of behind the scenes of the massive project that I'm working on, and I'm pretty happy that this is something that I will be able to do this year, because it's just been shoved on the back burner for a couple of years actually. But yeah, we are going to do it, so that's very exciting. Okay, let's have a look and see who's online that we can go and say hello to today. Thank you, DT and Boo Boo and Neon and everyone else, Block of Dynamite, who's hung out and chatted today. Let's have a quick look. You have a wonderful week ahead as well, Boo Boo. And yeah, let me know if you do end up getting a whole Deanne. I would be interested to hear about it, just because I've been eyeing up the M2 for a super long time, but I didn't need it, you know. I'm not growing my fountain pen collection, so I was like, that's fine, and I got the other one as like a little basic one for uni, but I'm still very keen to hear how you find it if you do get it for a, like if you're using it for drawing or for writing. Oh, thank you, Neon. Now let's have a look and see who's online. I'm gonna take you guys over to see Automatic Spirit today, a really cool Kiwi artist who does animation, and they're also very nice and chill, which is what I feel like I need today. My brain's a bit flat after working out architectural details. So let's go say hi to Automatic Spirit. I will be back again next Friday with more of this sort of thing. So until then, have a wonderful week, a great weekend, have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye bye. Thank you for hanging out.